Welcome to the Leadership Purpose with Robin podcast. I'm your host, Robin L. Owens, PhD, and this is where we dive in each week to give advice, tools, and tips for high-achieving women leaders, and we talk about leadership purpose and its importance for you. I am a college professor, and when I am not doing that, I am speaking, writing, coaching, mentoring, and teaching high-achieving women leaders how to find, and not only find, but how to stay in alignment with their leadership purpose so they can make a meaningful difference right there in their career, leadership, or business. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm so glad you're here and that you take time out of your busy day to take some time out and listen into the podcast. And today I will be talking to Star Bobatoon. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Star. First, let me say this. Rarely does a person's name fit them better than Star Bobatoon suits her. For truly, she is a star consultant, trainer, coach, and motivator. Her high energy and engaging style makes a lasting impact on her audiences and clients. And with over a decade of performance on the stage, television, and big screen, Star colors her timely and relevant messages with drama and humor. Using her legal background, Star goes beyond inspiration to convey concrete ideas and practical tools her audience and clients can use immediately. Welcome, Star Bobatoon.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's an honor to be here. I absolutely love the work that you do because these high achieving women, myself being one of them, we always need just a little bit of support because it's lonely out there. That's all.
I love that your energy is coming through already. Okay, so I read that little bit of introduction bio, but tell everyone a little bit about you as a person, and then the work that you're doing today.
Excellent, excellent. I want you to imagine it.
Okay.
Limousines, Hollywood parties, celebrities. This was my life as a child actress, right? I did television shows, I did after school specials, I did commercials. I mean, I wasn't terribly famous, but I did okay. And I absolutely loved what I did. I loved being on stage, connecting with my audience. I loved it. But at the height of my career, there was a lot of drama going on in my house. And I just assumed that it was my fault. I assumed that because I was successful, because I was in the limelight, that this was causing heartache and tension in my family. And so when I turned 18, Robin, I was like, that's it. I'm done. No more. I took this thing that I love and I was good at it. Took it. I put it in a box and I put it on a shelf and put it away. I think Marianne Williamson talks about, not hiding your light so that others aren't offended by your brilliance. That's exactly what I did. I took my light, my voice, my message, and I put it away. And it lived there for 25 years. 25 years, this is a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And in that time, my life was good. It was a good life. I got married. I had a couple of beautiful children. I became an attorney. Life was good. It's like I had a situation like that. It's like nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. But something's not right. And that's kind of where I was, but I didn't know what to do, what move I needed to make. And it's funny because Les Brown sometimes says that when you're too afraid to make a move in your life will move on you. And in the span of a year, my father passed away, my job went away, my marriage fell apart. And at this point, I'm just feeling low. I'm depressed. I don't know what direction to go in. It just seems like I am at the bottom of my life. And a good friend of mine invited me to go to a professional development seminar. One of those feel-good seminars. And you know how I felt about that. I don't want to go. Look. I'm having a pity party over here. I got the hat, the matching outfit. I'm enjoying my pity party. But she said, come on, let's go. So I go. And on the stage is world-renowned motivational speaker Les Brown. And I didn't even know who he was, but that man had a private conversation with me. Now, I know there were 1,999 other people in the audience, but he had a private conversation with me. And he talked about the fact that we all have a voice, we all have a message, and that we are doing a disservice by keeping it to ourselves. He talked about the fact that he kept his message to himself for over 14 years. He talked about how many people he did not impact who may have needed to hear his voice, and he let them down. He was talking to me because this is what I had done for 25 years. And it was right there in that audience when I decided, that's it, I'm coming back to the stage, but this time as a speaker and a trainer. I ended up training with Les. I worked with him. I ran his speaker training program. I went on to become #1 speaker and trainer in a national training company. And now what I do is as a presentation and storytelling coach, I polish the presentations of professional women and help sharpen their speaking skills so they can command the stage every time they speak. That is what I do.
Not only did you tell us, you demonstrated it right here in front of our ears.
Love it.
You're like, let me not just tell you about it. Let me show you. This is how it goes. That's fantastic. So tell us, what that looks like. You told us the story, how you got there, and you're doing this work now. So tell us what that looks like today in the ways that you help the women with their presentation.
Well, here's the deal. And the thing is, it's us women, right? It's us women who take our voices, take our messages, and put them away, or we silence them, right? We dial them down. And having gone through that in my life, one of the things that I love to do is to illuminate those voices, to amplify those voices. And I do that, like I said, by working with professional women. We work on basic communication skills. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So if you're a professional woman, you might be required to speak. You might be requested to speak, right? And you want to have that confidence. And here's the deal. Communication is your most valuable tool as a professional. You get further based on how you communicate. Down at the bottom in the front lines, it's all about what you do. As you climb the ladder, it's more about how you communicate and how you interrelate with people. And so I work with them on a coaching program, depending on what they come to me for, and there are 5 areas where the professional women that I speak to, where they're having concerns, let's say, right? The first thing is clarity. I'm not clear on my message, on what I have to say. I have to give briefings every day and they're all over the place, right? Or, I'm a professional in business and I have to speak, but I speak on this and then that, and then this other thing, and then Thursday, and it's all confusing. So I help them work with clarity. That's one of the things that they struggle with. They struggle with clarity. Another thing that they struggle with is confidence, just the confidence in their messages and in their ability to share their messages. They also struggle with content all over the place. Right. And how do I organize it, Star? How do I put it together? One of my clients said, how do I take 20 years of everything I've learned and put it into 2 hours? Guess what? You don't. you don't. And her shoulders were like, oh, okay, babe. But the content that we have, how do we organize it in a way that people are going to get it, that they're going to feel it, that they're going to be connected? And that actually brings us to connection. How do I make that connection? I get up, I speak, people's eyes glaze over, people are like doing this thing, talking, right? Because I'm not making that connection. And then the last thing that people talk to me about, the struggles that they have, is conversion. Now, if you're a woman in business, what are you trying to convert? You're trying to convert non-buyers to buyers, right? Strangers to clients. As I like to say, you're trying to convert crowds into clients. Right? You're trying to convert conversations into cash. But a lot of us are trying to convince someone or convince a board that we need a bigger share of this budget than this other part of the organization, this other department. We need a bigger share of that budget. We're trying to convince people that you need to donate to this particular cause, or my nonprofit is doing the kind of work that you need. And so you need to add to that. Whatever it is, sometimes we are convincing people, like if you're a coach or a consultant, you are convincing people, you're trying to convert people from not paying attention to their health to paying attention to their health, or for believing that whatever it is that you have, whatever it is that you offer is the solution to their problem. This is conversion, and we're all involved in conversion at some point. And so those are the 5 areas where people say, Star, I need your help. And I have a coaching program where I take them my coaching program pretty much takes them through those 5 elements.
Yes, yes. And it's clear. Well, it's clear to me in this day and age more so than ever with being on Zoom and how important communication is, because so much can be lost with, not being in person. And I've always been an advocate for good communication. So I'm glad you're doing that. And it's apparent that you're really good at it. And we can hear the passion as you're talking about what you're doing. And so tell us what lights you up the most in the work you're doing, because I'm imagining there's a few things, but what lights you up the most when you're doing this work and why?
So I had a client today, Kaylar. And when Kaylar first came to me, she's like, I just have to be able to speak, and I can't speak. And she's so like, even being here on Zoom with you is just, it's terrifying and it's so hard. And, she's a trainer, and she's involved in a multi-level marketing company that she loves, and she knows she has to speak. And she came to me just shy and not feeling confident and not having any clarity and all the things that I talked about. I spoke with her today, and she went through an experience, and I asked her, so what have you learned? What is it that you've learned that you're ready to share with the world? And she talked about the fact that she knows that she has value. She knows that she is talented and that she has a purpose, and that her voice is necessary to impact others. And she had an experience where she actually did that to impact others. She's like, I don't know where that came from. 6 months ago, I would not have been able to speak to her like this, to this other person. And I've changed a life. Just having her tell me that.
Yes.
I mean, I was cool on the Zoom, but inside I'm like, yeah, okay. Because that's what I want. I want to make an impact. When I talk, I say there are 3 things that we want. 3 things that we want when we speak. And in my work, there's 3 things that I want. The first thing that we want when we speak is applause, because that's nice. It's better than tomatoes, right? So we want we want people to be engaged. We want them to enjoy what we're sharing. The second thing we want when we speak in front of an audience is impact, right? In any of the business that we do, we want to make an impact. And I always say, your audience needs to be better off after you leave than they were before you came. Better off after you speak than they were before you spoke. Otherwise, we don't need to hear from you. We don't. And so the first thing you want is applause. The second thing you want is impact. And the third thing you want is conversion. You want to be able to make a change, either a change in your own pocket or a change in someone's life. So when I see that I have made an impact, when I see that I have made a change, I got to tell you, one of the most heartwarming moments I had, I do storytelling coaching. And I went to, I was involved in a nonprofit that helps women in transition from drugs, transition from prison, transition from a harder life to a better life. So women in transition, and that they have stories. They have the kind of stories that beat them up at night, the kind of stories that weigh heavy on their hearts. And so I wanted to work with them on changing that story, changing the perspective of that story. Instead of it being a story of these terrible things happened to me, it's a story of here's what I've learned, and here's the positive thing that came out, and here's who I am now and where I'm going, where we're rewriting the story, because the story doesn't stop with, I did these terrible things and I ended up in prison. That's not the end of the story. And a lot of these women get stuck in that. They get stuck in that story. I was on the streets for 5 years selling my body. They get stuck in that story. Let's move the story. Let's change the story. So I work with these women, just to work with them, to give them a different story. And one of the women, she was actually a writer back before her life turned upside down. So she really got into writing this new story. And I convinced the founder to let her speak at their fundraiser. I'm like, she's ready. This is going to be phenomenal for her and for all the people in the audience. And the night came and she's all dolled up and beautiful. And she's got her paper and she's shaking because this is not what she does. But she gets there and she reads her story. And the audience was in tears. The audience was in tears. They made more money than they had in all the other years that they did their fundraiser. But I'm standing in the back of the audience because I can't sit still. I just can't. So I'm sitting in the back of the audience and I'm just watching her and my heart is filled. My heart is filled. Look who she is now. Look, I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. That's what I live for, Robin. That's what I live for. That moment where a person becomes not who they used to be, but they become who they could be.
Yes. And I feel the transformation that you helped her go through just from hearing your story. It's a powerful story and a powerful change in her life that she'll never be the same. Yes, makes so much sense. Hey there, I'd like to interrupt this episode to tell you about the Leadership Purpose quiz that I made just for you. And it's called, How Closely Are You Following Your Leadership Purpose? It's a 5-minute quiz that you can take to get an indication about how closely you are following your leadership purpose. And you can find it on my website, right on the front page, robinlowens.com, robinlowens.com. How closely are you following your leadership purpose? All right, back to our episode. And you were talking about transition. So maybe you can speak to that or whatever you want to speak to. To the women who are listening to this podcast, they're generally women who are, like we mentioned before, high achieving women who are goal-oriented professionals, leaders in official capacity or unofficial capacity. They're the ones that are usually supporting everyone else. Mm-hmm. Very rarely do they get support for themselves. And so I invite people like you to become guests on the show. From your experience, no matter whatever the guest experience is, you have something that you can share. And I mean, you've shared so much richness already, but with what I just said in mind, and just think about the woman who's going about her daily routine and listening to the podcast. What's some helpful hint, word of advice, something you can share? I don't know. We were just talking about transition. I was thinking about people now. We're coming to the end of this calendar year and people are often thinking about, what am I going to do for next year? And we hear in the news that the media is calling what people are doing, changing their jobs. They're calling the great resignation, right? So there's a time of change and transition. So I don't know if people are listening, going through that or some other change or transition or just their regular day and can receive a word from you. What would you share with them?
All right. I've got so many. All right.
I knew it was going to be a difficult to try to, because you gave us so much already. So if you can't, I'll help you out here. If you can't do one, all right, two.
So I wrote a book called Star Points, as you can see right there. Star Points, they're short motivational messages designed to uplift and empower. And the reason they're called Star Points is because my name is Star and I'm about to make a point. Star points. Thank you for laughing. I appreciate that. Here's one of the star points that I love to share, and it's called Hold On to Your Fork. And so I went to dinner at a friend's house, and dinner was fabulous. You know, back when we used to go to dinner at friends' houses. You remember that?
A long time ago. Back? Yeah.
Right. So I was having dinner at a friend's house and dinner was fabulous. But as dinner was over and she started clearing away the dinner dishes, she said, hold on to your fork. Dessert is coming. Well, considering how good dinner was, we held on to our forks in anticipation of something, and we were not disappointed. And I invite the women who are listening to also hold on to their forks. When they come with times of challenges, of obstacles, of feeling beat down and tired, I'm going to ask you to hold on to your fork. And what I mean by that is hold on to your optimism, hold on to your faith, hold on to your goals and your dreams, hold on to your fork, because better days, better things, better opportunities are coming your way. Hold on to your fork.
I love that.
That would be your star point for this evening.
I love that. And you look like you were going to say something else. Were you or no?
I've got, like I said, the book, I've got 30 of them in each volume. So I've got lots that we could do. I will leave you with one more, one of my favorite ones. It's one of my favorite ones.
Okay.
And so when my daughter was about 3 years old, we're getting ready for bath, right? Bath time in the household. And I got everything together. We got the tub, it's got water, right? We got her bubbles. We got both the blue and the yellow ducky because mommy is on top of it. And she's wearing her little ducky towel that has a little beak over the head. It's got a little tail on it, everything that she needs, except she's agitated and she's upset. And I'm like, baby, what is it? And I get down on my knees and I pull her in close. I'm like, tell mama what it is. And she says, mama, every day I have to take a bath. When does it end? My sweet potato. And of course I said, baby, it doesn't end. You can't think that you're going to take a bath today or tomorrow and you're going to be good for the week or for the rest of the month. You have to keep taking a bath. This is going to go on forever. And I would say for those of us who are trying to do better, to have more, to help more, every day we're going to have to come back to it. We're going to have to come back to what's important. We're going to have to come back to taking care of ourselves because we go out there into the world, we get dirty. We get dirty all the time. So you're going to have to come back and you're going to have to take a bath, whatever that means to you, right? You've got to clean your mind. You've got to clean your spirit, your faith. You've got to cleanse that over and over again. It never ends. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of the basics so that you can go back out into that world and take it on.
Yes, absolutely. I'm already inspired by that story. And as you know, my own work is about leadership purpose.
Yes.
And so when you hear that term, leadership purpose, what comes to your mind?
The idea that you need to have a point. You need to have a point because sometimes, people will tell stories. They'll just go, here and there and on and on and on and on. And then they're done. And you're like, what was the point of that? What did I just spend 15 minutes listening to? Why are you bothering me with this? Right? Because there's no point. And so I imagine with leadership also, there needs to be a point. Or the people aren't going to follow, right? You need to have a destination. You can't just because you've got the title doesn't make a leader, but to have purpose in your leadership, that is going to get the people to follow wherever you're going. But you can't lead people if you don't know where you're going. And if you don't have purpose, you don't know where you're going.
Yes.
That's what I think about.
Yes, absolutely. So do you think leadership purpose is important? And if so, why or why not?
Yeah, it's important because as I learned from Les Brown many years ago, somebody is waiting to hear your voice. Somebody is waiting to hear from you. When I went to that conference, Les Brown was not the only one speaking. He was not the only one speaking. There were 13 speakers there, some of the best speakers. Michael Gerber was there. Jack Canfield was there. Michael Asseroff was there. Can I just say all of them?
Yes.
All of them. All of them were there, right? Pookie and them. All of them were there. And I sat and I saw each one of those. But there was only one person who actually spoke to me enough to get me to change the trajectory of my life. It was his voice. And those of us who are out here being leaders, your leadership is going to impact someone in some way you cannot even imagine. You don't even know what impact you're going to have. So you need to be a leader, but you need to be a leader with purpose because someone is waiting for you. And they don't need Robin's voice and they don't need Star's voice. They need your voice.
Yes, Star, you've given us so much richness here today. We're coming towards the end of our interview now, but I'd love to have people have an opportunity to stay in touch with you. And so if they're saying, I want to hear more from her, because if they're like me and they're feeling your energy and your motivation, they may want to hear more from you and see and hear more about what you're doing. So where can people be in touch with you?
Excellent. I appreciate that opportunity. They can go to connectwithstar.com. Connectwithstar.com. So all the links are there. You can connect, go there, you'll connect. My email is there, my website is there. I have apps there, so go that. And I do a speaker clinic. I do a speaker clinic once a month on either the second or the third Saturday, which is an opportunity for people to come and hear, and I'll, talk about speaking, talk about stories, but they also get the opportunity to work on anything they're working on. So we have hot seats. And so I would invite anyone to come join me. Come join me December 18th. Come join me whenever the next one is. If you go to the link there, the next one will pop up, and I would love to see you there.
Yeah, that sounds great. Tell us the website again.
It is connectwithstar.com. Connectwithstar.com. I want to make it nice and easy.
Yes. So that's right. You've heard it, everyone. Star, thank you so much for sharing your insights, wisdom, your energy, and motivation. So appreciate you being here. And for everybody who's listening in, so glad you are here today. Thank you for being here. And if you want more from me, you can find out more about me on my website, robinlowens.com, robinlowens.com. And you can find me on social media, mostly LinkedIn, Robin L. Owens, PhD, Robin L. Owens, PhD. Okay, until next time, this is Dr. Robin. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Leadership Purpose with Robin podcast. If you enjoyed it, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and I can't wait to hang out with you again soon. Meanwhile, this is Robin signing off. See you next time.